Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So last year during Watercolor Week I showed you my favorite watercolor supplies and just the supplies that I used and what I had, and since then my watercolor collection has grown quite a bit. I might have a few unnecessary watercolors. I might have a lot of unnecessary watercolors. Watercolor is just something that I like to do, and it's my main medium. It's what I like, and so I figure why not invest money into that and feel like, I don't know, happy with the supplies that I have so I can make fun art and have fun making art. Anyway, I am going to start off with my watercolor brushes. So one of the first nicer watercolor brushes that I bought was this big mop brush right here. It is just a standard big old mop brush that I can use for big washes whenever I need to use a lot of water and just cover a large area. I also have this brush for washes, which is just, I don't even have a brand for it. It's just a pretty wide flat brush that I use for larger areas, but I can also get finer edges with this, so I can get more precise edges with that one. And then this one is also used for washes. I just recently got this one actually. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It was only $3 with a coupon and everything, so very inexpensive, and I can use it for just smaller washes and filling in smaller areas. This is an interesting shaped brush that I have. It's called a dagger brush. I got it at Hobby Lobby also, I think, because their brushes go on sale a lot, so I just kind of browse their brush section from time to time. And this is called a dagger brush, and it has this really interesting shape that kind of looks like a shark fin maybe. But it's just, you can get wide washy areas and get a large area, or you can also get a small little point and fine details because it is pointy on the end. And then these three brushes are all from the same set. They're all Simply Simmons acrylic brushes, and I just picked them up at Michael's one day and they were on clearance, and I was like, I mean, these feel soft enough to be watercolor brushes, and they work really well with watercolor, surprisingly. And then these three are all different brands, but they're all my small detailed brushes, so these are all pretty fine brushes that I can use. This one is a liner brush. It has long bristles like this, and whenever they're wet they come to a nice point. This one is just a number 4 round brush. It's a little bit bigger than the rest, but it comes to a nice point, and I can get really small details with that. And then this one is a Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolor brush, and it's in size 0, so it's just the tiniest little brush that I can use for things like eyelashes and stuff. And that is it for my brushes. This is another thing that I use for watercolors that doesn't really have a place. This is my Winsor & Newton colorless masking fluid. It doesn't really have a category to go into, so I figured I would just show you this since it is a thing that I invested in, and I really like this stuff. Then I have these three watercolor tubes. These are the only tubes that I own, and they are all Winsor & Newton branded. These two are professional grade Winsor & Newton colors, so I have Winsor Orange and Opera Rose in the professional grade, and then I have one little ultramarine Cotman tube because my ultramarine was running out in my big palette, so I needed a refill for that. Now for paper, so I have 3 different pads of paper to show you that I use interchangeably and for different reasons. So I guess my cheapest paper that I have is the Canson XL watercolor paper. This is the one that is very heavyweight. It's 140 pounds, and it is a watercolor that I can use for finished pieces, and I sometimes do. But I use this paper when I am feeling more afraid of messing up the painting, if that makes any sense. So I use this when I'm feeling messy and just want to kind of relax and don't worry about making the piece perfect, and this is just kind of my cheap paper that I can play around with. This is my Strathmore watercolor paper that I use. I use this one for finished pieces a lot, definitely. Just when I want to make a nice finished piece on nice paper, but I don't feel like using my most expensive paper. I don't know if these descriptions make any sense, but they make sense in my brain, I guess. But yes, I really like this paper. And then finally, this is my most expensive and my nicest paper that I own. This is the Arches cold pressed watercolor paper. It's 140 pounds. It has 12 sheets and it's 100% cotton. And I love painting on this stuff, but sometimes whenever I sit down to paint, I don't want to be so stressed out and worried about wasting a piece of paper. So I typically don't use this paper unless I really want to make a nice finished piece, or if I'm making it for a gift for somebody, or if I just want to treat myself and have a nice paper to work on. So now it's time for the final portion of the video where I'm going to show you all of my watercolor paints. I feel like this is the one that could take the longest, but it's also the most exciting, so I don't even know where to start. I think I'm going to go with this little broken porcelain dish that I have. This was a full circular dish, but then I dropped it one day on hard floor and it broke like this, and it just had these 3 little colors left on it, which just happened to be the only 3 high quality colors. These are my Winsor & Newton tubes that I showed you earlier. So Ultramarine, Opera Rose, and Winsor Orange. And I just had these 3 colors left on here, so I just kept this little portion of the dish, and then later on I also added this Payne's Gray, which I stole from my art teacher. And then this is another tiny little palette that I have. It just has an assortment of different things in here. It has some expensive paints, some cheaper paints, just a mix that I just created this little palette because I bought a pack of plastic palettes one day and I decided to fill this one up. So this is a Daler Rowney paint, I think. This is it's the kind that you would get in like an art set for Christmas when you're a kid. So this is a Daler & Rowney paint, and I actually really like these. They are not that bad, and I use them as a little travel set sometimes. This is a Artist Advantage watercolor. It's just the cerulean blue in that set. This is the one that I tried out in my cheap art supply challenge recently. This is another Daler & Rowney paint. I just popped the pans out of these 2 and put them in there. This is my professional grade Opera Rose that I Winsor & Newton paint. This is my Winsor & Newton Cotman Ultramarine, and this is the Payne's Gray that I also stole from my art teacher. Speaking of that Artist Advantage watercolor set, here is that. I am missing the white from here. I think I put it in my gouache palette, if I'm correct. I think I just took it out of here and put it with my gouache tubes, but this is the tiny little Artist Advantage watercolor set that I got for $3 or $4 at Hobby Lobby, and I tested these out in a video if you guys want to go look on my channel and find that. Now this one is very special to me because this is actually the first set of watercolors that got me into watercoloring. Like officially, I definitely tried out like Crayola watercolors before, but this is my first official like set of watercolors that I just spent the money on, invested in, and this is what got me into watercolors for sure. So this is the Koi Watercolors Pocket Field Sketchbox. This is the 24 set version of that, and as you can see, it's quite beat up. I have this little palette in it, which is the actual mixing area. Then this is just the lid of the palette that I think you're supposed to use as an easel, but I just use it as a mixing area. And then down here, I also use this area as a mixing area. There was a water brush in this once upon a time, but I lost that water brush. I think I have another Koi water brush now, but I keep it in my pencil case. And as you can see, these pans have been pretty destroyed. Some of them, most of them, no, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of them are like dug into the bottom of the pan. So that just shows you how much I used these paints for so long, and whenever I upgraded to my Winsor & Newton Cotman palette, I was definitely ready for the upgrade. And some of these have other watercolors squeezed into them, so this little magenta color has my Winsor & Newton pink squeezed in there. This has the Artist Advantage blue squeezed in there. This is a Cotman Ultramarine blue that I squeezed in there. This one I was running out of lemon yellow, so I squeezed my Artist Advantage paint in there. And yes, I still love this palette. I use it for sketching in my sketchbook, and I don't think I will ever get rid of it because it was my first official watercolor palette, and I still like it. Here's a fun little thing that I got at TJ Maxx. I got this for 30 cents, if you can believe it. It was in the clearance section. I imagine it must have been part of a larger art set and it just fell out, but I got this little set of paints for 30 cents. I haven't tested them out yet. They're going to be in a video later on in Watercolor Week, so if you guys want to tune in and see that, you can just stick around. This was the first Winsor & Newton Cotman set that I bought. These were on sale for $13 on Amazon, and I just had to get one, and it just comes with 12 cute little paints, and it was the first time I had tried something other than the koi watercolors, and I just fell in love with, I think these are what made me fall in love with watercolor even more, and what made me decide to continue my collection. Because I think I thought that the koi watercolors were as good as it got, and that is definitely not the case. And as soon as I tried these, I was just hooked on buying watercolors all the time, and now here I am with way too many. These are the praying watercolors. I still can't say it. I've done a review on them and I still don't know how to say the word. But this is just an 8 set of praying watercolors, and I just like this palette. I'm going to use it as a travel palette eventually. It comes with this brush that I just had sitting in a mug over there. It comes with this little brush, and it has these little mixing trays, and the pans actually pop out if you don't know already. I did a review on these, so if you want to see my official opinion on these, you can go back a few days in Watercolor Week. I'll have a playlist up on my channel if you guys want to go watch the rest of the videos from Watercolor Week that I keep mentioning. This isn't actually watercolors, but I thought I would include it because it's pretty similar, and I keep it with my watercolors. Oh, I don't even know if I can get this open. Ah! Okay, so this is my gouache palette, and as you can see, just very messy. Paint everywhere, all over the palette. Just no organization. There's greens over here, there's greens over here, there's yellow right here, just browns everywhere, just little bits of black all around the palette. No organization whatsoever. These colors don't even have an order. There's a red over here and another red over here. It's just a mess, but I love painting with gouache. It's just very relaxing to me. It's something I do in my sketchbook, and I don't typically do finished gouache pieces. They're just kind of, I'll do mini ones on an artist trading card or something, and really whenever I paint with gouache, it's just painting for me and not to post anywhere or show anybody. I mean, but every now and then it will turn out good and I'll post one, but I don't know, that's just how it happens. And then these are my tubes of gouache. I just have Reeves gouache. By the way, these are just Reeves gouache, and yeah, these are getting pretty old now. I have used up most of these colors. Some of the tubes are getting pretty thin. I don't have the white anymore. I used up all the white, so I just have this Chinese white watercolor in here. It's working okay as a white gouache, but I definitely need to buy a replacement for this, for several paints in this set. This is kind of another spoiler for a video that's going to be coming up soon in Watercolor Week. I think this will be tomorrow's video if you guys want to check that out, and just stay tuned for that. But this is the Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolor 66 Try It color sheet. I have been eyeing this up forever, and a few weeks ago I finally just bit the bullet and spent the money, and it's only $6, so it's not like a huge investment, but I just never gotten around to buying it. And then the other day I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna order this thing, and it was only $6, and you get all these colors to try out, and I think it's gonna really help me out when I eventually someday start to invest in more professional grade watercolors. I will definitely be buying a few Daniel Smith because some of these are just so vibrant and beautiful. Then I have this set, which is a bit of a throwback to Watercolor Week last year. If you remember, I did a video where I compared 3 different types of watercolors. I had Crayola, I had these, and I think I had Winsor & Newton watercolors, the little Cotman set. So all of them were 12 sets, I believe. And I did a little comparison video, and I called it my ultimate watercolor comparison. And I used these in the video, and I just never parted with them because I like to use them as a little sketching palette, and I'll just pull them out every now and then when I just want to relax and doodle in my sketchbook. And yeah, I still like this little set. It's messy and it's beaten up now, but I still like it. Also a throwback to last year's Watercolor Week. This is my Mart 2 Seasons set of watercolor tubes. I lost the palette that went with this set, but I should get it back one day because these tubes are still like full to the brim. These are big tubes, and I guess I didn't realize that, but these are big tubes and they're still very full. Like, none of them are running out yet, so I should really get back into using these watercolors. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do a painting with these in the future. Now on to my two bigger sets. I am going to start with the newest one. These are my Gansai Tombu watercolors. I just recently did a review on these, I think. Yes, when this video came out, when you're watching this video came out yesterday. If you're watching this video the day it comes out, this review came out yesterday. The review for the Gansai Tombu watercolors just got uploaded yesterday, and so you can go see my official review opinion on those. But basically, I am obsessed with these watercolors. I love them so much, and I love that they're full pans, and they're going to take forever to run out, and they're just so vibrant. I love painting with them, especially on my Artist watercolor paper. They just flow so naturally and beautifully, and I can't wait to use these more. And now, this is the set that I have been using for the last year. This is what I make most of my watercolor paintings with currently. This is my Winsor & Newton 45 half pan Cotman watercolor set. As you can see, I've put some stickers on the front. This is just a sticker from Redbubble that they send you for free in packages as like a promotion type thing. This is a sticker from an artist called Fifal on Instagram, and this is from Joy-san. If you want to go look those two up, I believe Joy-san's Instagram is either Snarky Tuna or Sexy Tuna. Just try both and see what you can find, but definitely go check out both of their stores. I believe Fifal has an Etsy, and Joy-san has a Store Envy. And so this set is what I use most of the time, and it's just, I love this set. It is big. It has 3 different sections to it. 2 of them are for mixing. I love that it just has so much mixing room, and there's so many choices of colors. I especially like, if I had to pick some favorites out of this palette, I would probably have to pick, right now, I would say I like the new Gamboge. I like the Cobalt Blue, and I like all the reds in this palette, and I also like this color, Dioxazine Violet, maybe it's called. I like that color a lot. And yeah, those are probably my favorites in this palette, but I just like all of these, and I think this palette has a really big color selection, and it's a very good investment if you want to have a palette that will last you a long time. So yeah, those are all of my watercolor supplies. I showed you through all of my brushes, I showed you my masking fluid, I showed you my tubes, I showed you my watercolor markers, and I showed you all of my palettes, which there are a lot of them, so congratulations to you for sticking through this video. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying Watercolor Week. I do want to remind you that I have a giveaway going on right now, so I will link you in the description to where you can enter the giveaway. It's very, very simple. You just have to enter in your email, and that's about it. I just need your email so I can contact you if you happen to win. But if you want to go check out what's in the giveaway, you can go watch my giveaway video. There's instructions on how to enter there too if you are still confused. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you decide to tune in for the rest of Watercolor Week. I'll see you in my next video.